So, if a Star Wars Battlefront 3 ever happens as an EA Star Wars game, what heroes and villains do I think would be in this game? Now, I've come up with my little list and ideas. Now, obviously, Battlefront 3 has not been confirmed at all. Alright? There's been leaks and rumors about a Battlefront 3 happening, but there is no confirmation of it happening. So, this list of heroes and villains is just what I want if a Battlefront 3 ever happens. Please don't take this seriously. This is not heroes and villains that are actually coming to Battlefront 3. Battlefront 3 is not even confirmed yet. So that's just a little side note, because people are going to get confused by this. But before we get started with this video, though, make sure to leave a like on the video. While you're down there, if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to the channel, as we're in the mid 430s, so for subscribers. And yeah, I hope you guys can subscribe if you're new in here. Make sure to hit the bell if you want. I'm not going to force you to hit the bell, but if you do hit the bell, you'll get notifications for all my videos on YouTube. Make sure to also comment down below what your list of heroes and villains do you want if the Battlefront 3 ever happens. And also make sure to share the video if you want as well. And join my Discord. My Discord link is always in the description of my videos, unless I forget to add it in there, which is like never. Anyways, it's a permanent link, so if you want to join it, join my Discord. And yeah, I will probably come out with a Discord server overview video in the future. I'm not sure if I'll actually do that, because I haven't done one since like May 2020, and maybe in May I'll do one. You know, I don't know. But I'd like to do one eventually, either from a vertical view from my phone or just on PC. But besides that, yeah. Let's get started with the heroes and villains that I think should be in Battlefront 3. I'm going to start off with the prequels, and then we're going to go into the originals and then the sequels. I'm just going to start out how the timeline is in Star Wars. We'll include in TV shows like Clone Wars and Mandalorian. I probably won't include Rebels, and I'm not going to include any Resistance. I have not watched Resistance, and I couldn't even go through one episode of it in the first season, so yeah, I just don't watch Resistance. And let's get started with this list. So we're going to start off with the prequels. Now for Battlefront 3, this has to be a big game, right? At launch, it has to be big. Most things from Battlefront 2 can easily come into Battlefront 3's launch. Not all things, but most things. And for the prequels, we got technically 4 heroes and villains, if you include Chewbacca and Bossk being ported over. But we will count Chewbacca as one of them, and then a different villain. So first up, for the heroes and villains at launch for the prequels. First up, Yoda and Darth Maul. Again, same thing as Battlefront 2. They'll be the launch for that. Then you have Obi-Wan and General Grievous, Anakin Skywalker and Count Dooku. And then obviously, if there's like a co-op type game mode or instant action type game mode in Battlefront 3 at launch or as a future update, put in Chewbacca and Emperor Palpatine in there. Now they added Bossk in for it. Bossk is good. I mean, if you have another hero to port over from a different era, then you would have both Chewbacca and that other hero with Palpatine and Bossk. But Chewbacca and Palpatine make the most sense, and I would have them in for all 3 trilogies as hero rosters, which we'll talk about that in a bit. But yeah, those 4 will be at the launch of Battlefront 3. As my idea, please don't think Battlefront 3 is confirmed. It's not confirmed yet. As my idea, alright? So, my idea, not confirmed. Now, so it's not just heroes from a different game and not any new ones. Put in Padme Amidala and either Jango Fett or Cad Bane. Now, obviously, both of them will be added anyways, as for my idea. But to make it more unique, instead of just a copy and paste kind of hero and adjusting it here and there a bit, put in Padme Amidala for the heroes and Cad Bane for the villains. Now, I think Cad Bane would be a little more unique than Jango Fett. Jango Fett could definitely be a slight copy of Boba Fett. Technically, he could be, with the jetpack and the look and everything. Because I might be totally wrong with this. I think it was Slave 1, Boba's Slave 1, that he repainted to be his. I'm not sure about the armor, though. The armor, maybe. I might be totally wrong about that, though. But I know Slave 1, I'm pretty sure it's like painted over. I might be wrong with both. But yeah, I think Padme and Cad Bane could be there, too. So it's 5 heroes and 5 villains at launch. Now, I decided to add these 2 heroes and villains in, so maybe these 2 could either be heroes and villains at launch as well, or they could be for a future update. Now, obviously, if these are future update heroes and villains, just added them as like a first update for the prequels. Like, once the prequels get like their first update of stuff, just put them in as their first update. This is the most requested Battlefront 2 heroes and villains after Anakin and Dooku released, and that is, of course, Ahsoka Tano and Asajj Ventress. Now, these two were pretty requested, probably 2019 and 2020. And honestly, I'd probably say 2017, 2018. I would say that was more like Obi-Wan, Grievous, Anakin, Dooku for the requested. But Ahsoka and Ventress were requested a lot. I would probably put them in either as launch heroes and villains, just 6 and 6, or just have them in as, once the prequels get one of their first updates, just include them in as new types of heroes and villains as well. I'm also sorry for my dogs barking in the background. I apologize for that. But now for separate updates, hero and villains. Now I have 2 more heroes and villains to talk about, obviously, just for separate update. And I've kind of thought about this a bit, and I thought about it. Obviously, for separate updates, I have two more Saber heroes and then 2 more Blaster heroes. Obviously, making it 4 heroes / villains in total for the prequels to add. These 4 would be in separate updates as well. The first 2 is going to be Qui-Gon Jinn and Savage Opress. Now, I originally had Mace Windu because I think Mace Windu would make more sense, as Savage Opress was in the Clone Wars TV show. Qui-Gon Jinn is dead by this point. And usually the heroes and villains that are added in the game together usually have dialogue, and you can't really have dialogue with Qui-Gon and Savage. Maybe Maul has talked about killing Qui-Gon before or something. I don't know. But whatever the case is, if that's the case in this game as well, just the new added heroes have dialogue with each other, you can't really have with Qui-Gon and Savage. If they did do that, I think Mace Windu would be a better option to do with Savage, but I honestly like Qui-Gon to be in the game better than Savage, so that's why I have Qui-Gon and Savage. Eventually, if I do bring back my hero concepts, I probably won't, unless the Battlefront 3 is confirmed. Maybe I'll do a concept for Qui-Gon or Mace Windu as well. Savage might be a little easier to do than those 2. And then the other 2 Blaster heroes are going to be Captain Rex and Jango Fett. I did say Cad Bane and Jango would be both added, but one of them would be a counterpart to Padme. I honestly think Jango's a better counterpart to Padme because they're both in Attack of the Clones, while Rex and Cad Bane are both in the Clone Wars show. So I think it makes sense if it's that for counterparts. But yeah, that's all I can really think of for the prequels when it comes to that. So that is all the prequel heroes and villains I think should come to the game. Prequel Era for Battlefront 3. So now we're going to go ahead and do the original trilogy, my favorite trilogy in all Star Wars, and I can think of like 6 off the bat easily. So obviously for launch for Battlefront 3, for the original trilogy heroes, I have Luke Skywalker, Han Solo, Leia Organa, Chewbacca, and Lando Calrissian. And for the villains, Darth Vader would be a counterpart to Luke, Palpatine to Han, Boba to Leia, and honestly, probably Bossk to Chewbacca. And I know Bossk isn't really a well-known hero unless he's in Battlefront 1 and 2, but I think Bossk is probably the only one I can think of as a good counterpart to Chewbacca. And for Lando, now, in my opinion, this kind of does depend if Battlefront 3 has a campaign, and if there is a campaign, does it continue the Inferno Squad's mission? Like, is it like, I don't know. Is it their past? Is it is it Iden Versio's kid? I don't know. I don't know how it would be. But if that's the case, if Battlefront 3 has a campaign and it is about Inferno Squad, put in Iden Versio as a villain counterpart to Lando. But in my opinion, I don't really like it that Iden was a villain in Battlefront 2's multiplayer. I liked her as someone in the campaign, But if you didn't have it like that, I mean, even if the campaign was like that, you didn't have Iden in the game as a villain. Probably put in either Dengar or Greedo. In Battlefront 1, it was Dengar as a counterpart to Lando, and then in Greedo was a counterpart to Ninem. So maybe Greedo or Dengar. I think more people might want Dengar. I think more people had fun with Dengar in Battlefront 1. In my opinion, I would rather have Greedo than Dengar. So I would probably put in Greedo as a counterpart to Lando, and then Jyn Erso and Director Krennic at launch. I think they have to come at launch at some point in a DLC. Now, obviously, this is, of course, as I am doing mostly Battlefront 2, most things from Battlefront 2 at the launch of Battlefront 3, put in just Rogue One stuff with Dark Death Troopers, Scarab, Shore Troopers, Jyn Erso, Director Krennic. Put them in, Jyn Erso, Director Krennic at launch would be pretty good for the originals. So now you have 6 at launch for the prequels, 6 at launch for the originals. I don't have 6 at launch for the sequels. It's pretty hard to think about 6 sequel heroes and villains. I would have to go deep into that. But I think that would be pretty cool. Now for future DLC or update heroes. Now obviously if there's DLC in Battlefront 3, just make it free. Don't have a season pass like Battlefront 1. No one liked the season pass. Just do how you did Battlefront 2. Just make it free. Just go down a nice easy route like that. Don't force people to pay for future updates at DLC. That's really stupid in my opinion. That's even a thing in gaming, and especially AAA games like Star Wars Battlefront 1 and Battlefront 2. So let's talk about Battlefront 2 Original Trilogy Heroes and Villains to come into future updates. I'm gonna have to think about 2 heroes and 2 villains for this one, and two of them I could think right off the bat. The Mandalorian, or Din Djarin, I should say, and Moff Gideon. Now, I think these 2 are good because it makes sense. Mandalorian's starting to be a really big show, and I think it would be good to have Din Djarin and Moff Gideon as heroes and villains, since we do know more of what their abilities could possibly be. Again, if the Battlefront 3 does happen, maybe I'll make hero concepts for you never know. Now for the last 2 heroes and villains for the originals, I think it would be really cool if they did Cal Kestis and the Second Sister, as Cal Kestis is the main hero in Fallen Order, and the Second Sister is the main villain in Fallen Order. Now, obviously, if a Fallen Order 2 happens, this could obviously be different. You could have maybe Cal Kestis, and then maybe a Star Wars Rebel Inquisitor, if that actually is in there. So you have some type of Star Wars Rebels villain, Obviously, instead of Cal Kestis and the Second Sister, let's just say they didn't want Fallen Order stuff in Battlefront 2, which is understandable because they didn't want to promote their own Star Wars single-player game and another Star Wars multiplayer game that they have. Maybe they could add in Ezra Bridger and the Grand Inquisitor, or Kanan Jarrus and the Grand Inquisitor. I think it would be better if it was Kanan and the Grand Inquisitor. Now, I'm either deciding between Cal and the Second Sister, or Kanan and the Grand Inquisitor. I'd like it better if it was Cal, but I think a lot of people would like to see Kanan, since obviously Cal is already in his own Star Wars game, and he doesn't need to be in another multiplayer one. So, whatever the case is, I'm fine with either 2, as long as we get Krennic and Jyn and Mando and Moff as well. So if we get those 4 as well, then I'm perfectly fine with either Cal or Kanan or Second Sister and Grand Inquisitor. But that's for all the originals, and the sequels, I'm going to try to make this one quick. This might be long, because I usually say I like to make this quick and it's long. For launch, for the sequels, Rey, Finn, perfect. Poe would be new as well, like Padme and all of them, that would be new. Poe and Hux, Rey, Finn, and Poe for the heroes. Their counterparts, Kylo against Rey, Captain Phasma against Finn, and General Hux against Poe. So yeah, 3 heroes, 3 villains at launch, and then if, like we did with the prequels, put in Chewbacca, Palpatine as well. So you have 4 and 4 at launch, and I'm gonna add in BB-8 and BB-9E. They're at Battlefront 2, so I'm just gonna put them in as well. So have 5 heroes and 5 villains at launch. 4 of them for Battlefront 2, 1 new one. I know it's kind of stupid. If you do 1 more hero and villain, maybe you can add in Zori Bliss and General Pride as a separate hero and villain. As a separate hero and villain at launch 2, besides Poe and Hux. And then for future updates, if we do 2 and 2 as well, like we did the prequels and originals, Two I can easily think of is probably either Diana, or I think Diana, who has the bow. She has a bow in Rise of Skywalker. Maybe versus a Knight of Ren member. I think Knights of Ren probably fit better as a reinforcement. But if you really ran out of villains at this point, which you probably have, maybe you could add a villain from Star Wars Resistance instead, because I think there is like a golden stormtrooper from Star Wars Resistance, and maybe you could add that in as a villain, and then you have Diana as well as a hero. So you have Diana versus someone from Star Wars Resistance, and then Knights of Ren a reinforcement for Battlefront 3, which I think would be a lot better. And then for the last hero and villain, I have Maz Kanata and Snoke. Now, obviously, maybe you want to put like Rose and Snoke in here. I think Maz and Snoke would work better because, there's really no other villains besides Snoke you can put in, and Snoke was just wasted in 8 and 9. And then it would either be Maz or Rose as a hero, to be honest. I mean, maybe if you want to include the Star Wars Resistance main character, I forgot his name, but that'd be it. And that is every single hero and villain I would like to see in Battlefront 3. Some of them are for the launch of Battlefront 3, and some of them are for future updates. Now, there's probably a video that someone has done for this as well. I wouldn't be surprised. But yeah, Battlefront 3, you better happen. EA and DICE, if you're watching this, make Battlefront 3 happen. Look at my hero ideas, put them in. You would make my day if this actually did come true. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this Star Wars Battlefront 3 discussion video or ideas video. I did kind of include in all 4 TV shows. If you think about it, I did kind of include all 4. I wasn't going to, but kind of did last minute. But yeah, as I did earlier today, or as I said earlier in this video, make sure to leave a like in this. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you're new here, or you haven't subscribed yet, and make sure to hit the bell. Comment down below what heroes and villains you would like to see for Battlefront 3, and make sure to share the video. This would be amazing. If you did any of the 4, you don't have to. I'm not going to force you to. But if you do, you would make my day. We're currently in the 430s for subscribers when I'm currently making this February 1st. So, yeah. Hope you guys enjoy this one, and I'll see you guys in my next Star Wars video. And hopefully Battlefront 3 does eventually happen. Hope you guys enjoyed. See you guys next time. Have an amazing day. God bless you and your family. And I'll see you guys next time in my next Star Wars video. Goodbye.